You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy. So, what'll that make you? Good? You're not good. You just know how to hide, how to lie. Me, I don't have that problem. I always tell the truth. So say good night to the bad guy.
You get
You got one in the do it! Jamahal Hill! Sweet dreams!
Wow.
Jamahal Hill was once viewed as one of the UFC's brightest prospects, a fresh face with knockout power and endless potential. On his rise, he seemed like a light heavyweight with great potential. Nobody could meet his match, he was knocking them all out. His style was aggressive, combined with a raw charisma, captured the attention of fans and fighters alike. For a while, he was a force to root for, an underdog in a stacked division thriving for greatness, and I think a lot of fans were jumping on board the Jamahal Hill train. But strangely, somewhere along the way things began to change. Hill's confidence grew into something more darker. He found himself at odds with fans, trading insults online and confronting anybody who dared to doubt him. For many, his reputation shifted from rising star to something else entirely. This is the story of how Jamahal Hill, a once promising talent, became one of the most controversial figures in the UFC today. How he became one of the most hated and disliked, and people just said stop the cope. This is how his confidence seemed to turn into arrogance and the fans' respect seemed to turn into resentment. This is how Jamahal Hill turned himself into the villain.
UFC light heavyweight champion vacates his title due to a career-altering injury. Jamahal Hill vacates his title because he played a game of basketball.
Jamahal Hill just said that he is injured, he ruptured his Achilles, and now he will not be fighting Yuri Prohaska for the light heavyweight world championship, and also he won't be the light heavyweight world champion. He's vacating his belt.
In early 2023, Jamahal Hill faced a significant setback when he sustained an Achilles injury during a basketball game. Forcing him to vacate his light heavyweight title. This incident marked a crucial turning point in his career, one that would ultimately set the stage for a more arrogant public persona. And prior to the injury, Hill was celebrated for his explosive fighting style and rising status in the UFC. He was coming off great wins. Wins against Jimmy Crute, Johnny Walker, Thiago Santos, and Glover Teixeira. Fans admired what he was doing, viewing it as a hallmark of his potential. However, after his injury, rather than stepping back and focusing on recovery, Hill continued to taunt potential rivals, including top contenders like Alex Periera. This came in the form of tweets that seemed more petty and desperate than sly little remarks. He did the honourable thing by vacating, but he was just attacking people while he wasn't able to fight. And this behaviour didn't sit well with many fans. Instead of showing humility in the face of adversity, Hill's relentless trash talk came off as arrogance. His online presence shifted from engaging with fans to engaging in heated exchanges, which painted him as overly confident, even reckless. And this marked the beginning of a perception shift. What was once seen as bold confidence and funny humour began to be interpreted as overconfidence, setting a tone that would follow him throughout the rest of his career. Fans started to wonder, where was this anger coming from? He couldn't seem to handle the criticism fans were giving him of not being able to beat Alex Periera, and it really seemed to get to him. Ultimately, the Achilles injury and Hill's bravado laid the groundwork for his evolving villainous image. Instead of rallying support during a challenge time, he leaned into a persona that many found off-putting, and I believe that this eliminated a large portion of his fan base.
The man who less than a year ago told us within the next year he would become UFC light heavyweight champion. In fact, here's the clip for the record. Here's what he said in February of 2022. Finish this sentence for me if you can. Jamahal Hill be UFC champion by?
In the next year.
In the next year, this time next year, you're champion already.
In the next year.
In the next year, his prediction came true. Jamahal Hill, Sweet Dreams, joining us now.
In August 2023, Jamahal Hill found himself in the spotlight again. But this time, it wasn't for his fights. He went on the MMA Hour hosted by Ariel Helwani. In this interview, Ariel Helwani tried to bait Jamahal Hill into getting him to say something that he didn't really believe. But overall, at the time, Ariel Helwani was known for giving out 10-8s, as they would say, to the likes of Paddy Pimblett and Brendan Schaub. So although in this clip, many people did side with Jamahal Hill, there was still a lot of people that turned against him. And I think in turn it's because of the way he was acting before this interview as well.
Look, I missed it, cuz this was me addressing this shit you said. Like I said, I was traveling Monday. I had some things, but you got a little loose with the lips with a couple of the fellas. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what y'all was maybe drinking some Long Island iced tea. You look like you might drink a sex on the beach or something, you know. I don't know what y'all going on for, but y'all was talking. Y'all was loose lipping in a little too much.
Too much? We got too comfortable?
Got a little too comfortable, yeah.
You're just calling me out. You felt some sort of way about me saying this about Yuri and me saying that about Alex, apparently, all that stuff. And that's fine, and that's fair game. I believe it's fair game for me to say that because, hey, look, I'm doing a sports show. I'm talking about MMA. We talk about it a lot. Like, I got to be real with my opinions and feelings too. And I think, obviously, a big story over the last few weeks has been the Dana White situation. You were probably the most vocal fighter on the roster about that situation, right? And a lot of people... Well, let me finish. About that, did you ever hear me say, my opinions on Jamahal have changed? Jamahal shouldn't have said... Did you ever hear me say your name at all when you were... I saw you going back and forth with a lot of people. And I'll be honest, didn't agree with a lot of your things that you said. And I could have been like, F that guy, da-da-da-da. Did you hear me shit on you then? Did you hear me criticize you? Did you hear me disparage you? Did you hear me say anything negative about you? Did you hear me even put your name in that bucket? Did you hear any of that? Because you seem to know a lot about what I'm saying. Did you hear any of that?
You talking about the whole the Twitter exchange and all those things? No, because you weren't supposed to. Because I wasn't in that situation. Everybody on the internet tried to drag me into
Well, you
that
commented
situation.
on it.
I made a simple statement. Everybody keeps their hands to themselves. Nobody puts their hands on nobody. Nobody gets assaulted. There's no, you know what I mean? Nobody gets hit. Everybody keep their hands to themselves. That's what I was saying. That's where I'm leaving that shit.
100%. But it created a stir. I'm not asking for your opinion on that. All I'm talking about is I didn't take shots at you. So if the worst thing that you could say on me is, oh, Ariel thinks this guy is...
What shots would there have been to take at me?
It was going back and forth.
The back and forth on the Twitter was motherfuckers talking shit to me. And most of that was just me addressing shit about the fight and things like that. That had nothing to do. I wasn't defending nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Well, for the record, I mean, my feeling is if you care, like I agree with no one should touch anyone, but I also agree if a woman hits you, you shouldn't hit her back. That's my opinion. So we disagree on that maybe, right? I didn't take shots at you. I didn't criticize you.
I didn't say that. You see, you just assume that. I never said that. I never said, oh, a man shouldn't hit. I just said nobody should hit anybody. Why even poke the bear? I have a daughter. I'm going to my job as a father is to protect my daughter and give her the best, most useful advice possible. And I understand not every man is going to be chivalrous like that. So my advice to my daughter is to keep your hands to yourself. That's a more effective way rather than tell her a man should never hit you.
Of course. So, I also believe that if it comes to the point where a woman hits a man shouldn't hit a woman. Regardless of no one should hit anyone. Obviously, everyone, I think, would agree that would be the best case scenario. The point is... Yeah,
nobody's hit nobody. We should leave it at that.
Okay, Dang. A lot of people had a lot of opinions. I'm just saying, I didn't do that. You listen, you can't deny that this created a stir.
More comment, bro. Let's talk about something else. I ain't got no more comment on it.
I'm not trying to get your comment on it, but you took umbrage with my thoughts on the fighting, and I just wanted you to know that I didn't question you as
I took umbrage with some shit that pertained to me specifically.
Well, that's what I'm talking about specifically.
But listen, you are one of the biggest journalists in this lane, and then whenever you jump from steady rather than just showing appreciation and for the things and things like that, you just throw out more questions. You know what I mean?
Nah, man. I mean, come on. I'm allowed to have an opinion.
Yeah, which is cool. But pay some homage at least.
I paid some homage. You didn't listen to the whole show. I said it was a massive deal. I said your journey was incredible. I said it was inspirational to a lot of people, not on this show also, but also on my other show on Saturday night. people send you probably select clips. You were busy. You probably didn't sit and watch the whole damn thing. And I don't blame you because you probably have way better things to do. But like, you're better than that.
Now, in that interview, Ariel Helwani brought up comments that Jamahal Hill made on social media about Dana White slapping his wife. Now, the two did argue for a bit, but it seemed like they worked it out as just a disagreement and chose to go their own way. And a lot of fans actually took Jamahal Hill's side in that clip. A lot of fans were saying Ariel Helwani was trying to bait him. MMA Guru made a good video on it. But there were still some fans that took Ariel Helwani's side, and it fueled that dislike for Jamahal Hill for some select fans very much so. But this little beef didn't end here. It continued again when Jamahal Hill dropped a video on August the 2nd, 2023, going over an interview that Ariel and Yuri had together, where Ariel took more shots at Jamahal Hill.
This message is for Ariel Helwani. Now, Ariel and Yuri got together last night and had an interview. And as a lot of you already know and have seen, Ariel's dirty, sneaky tactics that he likes to use to get over on fighters. And he does this all the while being completely, man, just a punk about it and doesn't own up to any of it.
But it was interesting. I thought the way you handled it said a lot about you, because for the last few months, even his last post on Twitter before the announcement that he was out was like insinuating that you were taking too long, that you were afraid, that all this nonsense. And then you say to him, I wish you the best. And then he responded to you. But like, you know, over the last few months, a lot has been said about you, and you took the high road and wished him well. I thought was a very classy thing that you did on your part.
You see that? Now, he is attempting to try to give him props to up him while subliminally trying to take shots at me.
I was just going to ask you, who do you think is a tougher opponent? Alex Periera or Jamahal Hill? Does that mean that you think Alex is a little bit tougher?
Now, you see that? Ask him a question. Who do you think's a tougher opponent? Alex Periera or Jamahal Hill? Does that mean you think Alex Pereira is tougher than Jamahal? Throwing shade, but trying to get him to make it seem like he was just asking, bro, that's you throwing shade, bro.
And really, I can't say this enough. The way that you handled the Jamahal Hill news, to me, was extremely impressive, because I know you had heard a lot, and I thought it was a little bit unfair over the last few months. And the fact that you came out right away and wished him the best and didn't take a shot at him when he was down, I think really said a lot about you as a human being. So much respect to you, Yuri, for handling it that way.
Pause real quick. What does that say about me as a human being? See what you see the narrative and where he's trying to paint and push this? I'm going to be real. I'm just going to say it like this. Like, Ariel, you did what you did, bro. I don't fuck with you at all. You a snake. I think you really a bitch, bro. You weak, and you're really pathetic, bro. People come on, try to share like their dreams, true feelings, and raw things like that with you, and you take that time to try to serve your own agenda, try to get your 10-8s and things like that, you know. And another thing to think about is the simple fact of, I'm not Rampage, bro. I'm not Rampage. I'm not gonna have the whole little playful little thing back and forth with you like that, bro. You keep disrespecting me and disrespecting my name, I'm gonna come see about you. Eventually, at some point, we'll be in the same room. The fact that I'm a man and a gentleman, you know, regardless of anything, I'm a gentleman, is the reason why you would be okay. Not because of you, because you're not capable of ensuring yourself for being okay like that and that. You know, I have to allow you to be okay.
After that video, it clearly showed that Ariel Helwani and Jamahal Hill were not on good terms, and that there was real beef happening. And honestly, I don't know if the interview paints Jamahal Hill in a bad light. I don't know if it adds to his villain image, but it did indeed put him out there as he isn't afraid to attack back. You know, he isn't afraid to attack back at Ariel, which a lot of people commended, but I think it showed the people that Jamahal Hill won't be quiet. Jamahal Hill isn't scared of confrontation. He isn't scared to stand his ground. And if you agreed with Ariel or not, I guess that depends if you think Jamahal Hill was in the right or in the wrong. And to end this little saga with Ariel Helwani, Jamahal Hill made a video responding to Ariel Helwani's response to that video we just watched.
Part 2, if you will. As many of y'all know, I made the video exposing Ariel Helwani yesterday. He made a response, and this is going to be me watching his response and giving my take on it.
Asking me a lot about Jamahal Hill, the former UFC light heavyweight champion, who has had some things to say about me on his YouTube channel, where we got off on the wrong foot because the last text conversation that I had with Jamahal was actually a very nice and cordial one. But for whatever reason, there's been a bit of a heel turn as of late. And so I don't think
we're going to let the heel turn thing go because you're very good with the English language. So there's a bunch of other phrases you can use. I actually think that was kind of funny. But our last text conversation was not cordial. You capping. You trying to make it seem like, oh, this is coming from out of nowhere and you haven't done anything, like you haven't been taking shots at me for months. This is a text message from me and Ariel Helwani. This is him texting me, asking me what I mean about this Twitter link. So he's asking me, what was that? And I say, what do you think? I asked you first. Not really. The post in itself was a question. Then he goes back and shares an old text message saying where I said, I enjoy our exchanges. All right, cool. Completely irrelevant. Then I go to, yeah, I watched our video back and I feel that you really did some hoe ass shit. Are you being serious? How was what you did not? So our last text conversation was not cordial and it was not nice.
I come here with love in my heart, and so what I want to say to Jamahal Hill, because a lot of you are asking me to respond to Jamahal Hill, this is what I want to say. You keep talking about being a man and all this stuff. I would like to extend an invitation to you, Jamahal Hill, who I have nothing but respect for, and I think that your thoughts on the way I think about you are very wrong. I'd like to extend an invitation to you to come in studio on my program and we could hash it out. Mano a mano, man to man. We could talk about the issues and hopefully we can squash the beef. I would love that opportunity. And in case you think that I'm trying to get you to my studio as some sort of, ruse or trap, absolutely not. I know you just had surgery. I know you just got injured. If you'd like to come on via Zoom, I would love to have you on. And in case you think that I am trying to get views, I don't cut up the videos. I'm not making 20-minute monologues about you and all that stuff. But in case you think I'm trying to get views, clickbait, all that stuff, I'll tell you what, if you do come on the show, I will give you the full entire interview and you can post it on your YouTube channel. You can cut it up. You can post the entire thing. You can have all the views that you want. I like to deal with things behind the scenes. I like to figure things out. Of course, I'm going to talk about you. You're one of the biggest stars. I'm going to ask Yuri Prochaska questions about you, but I love to figure this out. And so the invitation has been extended. If you want to come on the show in studio or via Zoom, I would love to have you.
You like to invite me on to have a discussion and things like that. You could have done that already months ago. I wouldn't have accepted. To be honest with you, I have no interest in coming on your show. I've been on your show. I've been on your show multiple times before leading up into it. Gave you a really great sports soundbite for your show. And I see the respect I got for that. So now, if you truly want to talk and have a conversation, you can come on my show. Now, to address some of the things you said, because even in 2 minutes, you can still see he can't help but throw shots or take shade. I'm not cutting up any monologue and things like that because of the video of me calling him out, which is hilarious. The hand jack, look at the things he does. Look, body hand, but I'll let you keep look, he's zesty as hell. You can come here, you can accept my invitation to come, have a talk with me on my end, or you can just keep my name out your mouth, which clearly, like you said, you're not going to do. So the move is on you. And that's where I'm at with that. So let me know what's up.
And with that, the Jamahal Hill vs Ariel Helwani saga was over. Now, while Jamahal Hill's reaction may have been justified, his approach did raise some eyebrows. His forceful responses were intense and for some fans came off as too aggressive rather than simply setting the record straight. Hill seemed to dive headfirst into conflict, and fans took notice. Although many agreed with Hill's points, his way of expressing them felt like an overreaction to some. From this point on, Jamahal Hill's image would begin to become more polarizing. Despite being in the right during the feud, the intensity of his reaction hinted at a new, more confrontational Hill, and fans couldn't help but wonder, was this a sign of things to come?
A former UFC light heavyweight champion with ties to West Michigan is facing assault charges. Court documents show Jamahal Hill was arrested Monday in Kentwood and released from jail the same day. He's facing a charge of misdemeanor aggravated domestic assault. According to TMZ, Hill assaulted his brother. Hill graduated from Rogers High School in Wyoming and later played basketball at Davenport University. He'll be in court in January.
December 2023 marked a troubling turn in Jamahal Hill's public story. News emerged that he had been arrested on aggravated assault charges involving a family member. For fans who had rooted for Hill, this was difficult to accept. This wasn't just another in-cage controversy, it was a deeply personal matter, forcing the MMA community to rethink their perception of him. And for years, Hill had built a reputation as a fighter who'd climbed his way with skill and resilience. But now this incident threw that image into doubt. Fans who once saw Hill as a good guy in a tough sport were confronted with a version of him they hadn't expected. A spot where it seemed like he was even retaliating against his own family. And matching this up with the recent events, the outpour at fans, the Ariel Helwani situation, people were starting to question Jamahal Hill's character. Was he insecure and was he explosive, ready to attack anybody that had a go at him? Making things worse, the UFC remained unusually quiet. Although Dana White acknowledged the incident briefly, there was no statement of support, no defense. To some, this suggested that even UFC leadership were hesitant to stand by Hill, perhaps signaling a subtle distancing from a fighter who was rapidly becoming a controversial figure. For the first time, fans finally saw Hill in a new light. The light between his public persona and private life were blurred, and suddenly, the fighter they once saw as relatable and ambitious began to look more like a villain than a hero of his story. Now, I want to emphasize that we don't exactly know the situation that happened here. It was between Hill and his brother, James Anthony Hill. All we do know is that the assault did happen, but we don't know why, we don't know what led up to it. And I actually couldn't find a recent update. It was meant to go back in March, which we're way past that now, but I haven't found anything to do with it. But the latest report I saw was under the proposed terms, Hill would be required to plead guilty to one charge of domestic violence, and in return, the prosecution would dismiss his aggravated domestic violence charge, according to TMZ Sports. Hill is expected to return to court in March, but as of this writing, has not accepted or refused the offer. The decision is likely to be announced in front of the judge. So we haven't heard anything from this further, so it's in the air. But one thing is to be sure, this definitely affected his public image. By June 2024, Jamahal Hill had made his name known, and not just for his fighting skill. This time it was the lead up to his fight with Alex Periera that had people talking. Fans noticed a change in his approach. Gone were the days of quiet confidence. Hill was now embracing a loud, assertive presence, pushing his pre-fight confidence to new levels.
I'm making a very assertive point, and and mark my words when I say this. There will be no, I do not plan on taking him down. I do not plan on wrestling him. I plan on going in there in where y'all think he's just this otherworldly guy because he did kickboxing and I didn't do kickboxing. And whenever I do fight him, standing, I will knock him out.
Hill didn't hold back. In every interview, he doubled down on his belief that he was untouchable. I'm the best fighter in the division, he claimed time and time again. He seemed set on not only winning but proving his superiority in every way possible. But as his words grew louder, fans' patience started to thin. What some initially saw as confidence was beginning to sound like pure arrogance. And the Alex Periera fans were onto him. This was a rare instance for Hill where the person he was fighting was by far the fan favourite. Alex Periera had made his name known in the UFC and he had a large fan base, while Hill's fan base was significantly smaller. And on social media, Hill took it even further, Not one to ignore criticism, as we know with Ariel Helwani. He clapped back at fans who dared to doubt him, calling out anyone who questioned his chances against Periera. Hill's confrontational attitude seemed to rub people the wrong way, with some fans even suggesting he was too focused on his ego to truly prepare for the fight. He was getting mocked online, fans commenting that he's gonna lose, and Jamahal Hill would clap back, making it worse for himself. Jamahal Hill almost put himself in a situation where he had to win. Similar to the situation how if Ilia Topuria was to lose to Max Holloway, that's the position that Jamahal Hill got in. And he did lose. And that's the danger with coming across so confident, coming across that you know you're going to win when you do have that loss. The more Hill talked, the more he seemed to lose touch with his fan base. His bravado painted a picture of a fighter who was putting his pride before his preparation. Fans questioned if he was taking Periera seriously, or if he was more interested in playing the role of the division's next big bad guy. In numerous interviews, he seemed to think that he was leagues above Alex Periera on the feet, using past fights to point out why he would be able to beat Alex Periera.
What type of openings are you seeing?
There's a lot of them. There's a lot. There's I don't think he's as fast as I am. I don't think he's used to the type of fight that I bring and the type of style that I bring. It's like certain skills, bro. Just certain skills. I understand fighting. He understands it as well. I'm just different, bro. I'm just different. I just really want to get in there with somebody like that who everybody sees and acknowledges how special he is. You know what I mean? It's giving him the flowers for how special he is. I want to go in there and show the levels that I can make it look easy.
Using examples of Alex Pereira's fight against Bruno Silva to show that he would be able to do the same thing. And with that attitude, it's natural to believe that maybe he was underestimating Alex Periera. Then came fight night. Despite all his words, it became clear that Hill had underestimated the challenge in front of him, and it wasn't long before Alex Periera found the kill shot. He had knocked Jamahal Hill out early in the first round with a clean left hook, and the fight didn't go Hill's way, and instead of a victory, he found himself on the receiving end of a decisive defeat. People mocked him, people trolled him, people clowned on him for being so confident coming up, and people just started to see it as arrogance. When you don't back your confidence up, it can be easily seen as arrogance, and I think that's what we've seen in this situation. With his loss now coming off an injury, it wasn't looking good for Jamahal Hill. He had talked a big game, he had been in all these different dramas, was a massive shot to his career. And the aftermath of the fight is what really set the stage of Jamahal Hill being a villain.
I'm literally only saying this to say what happened, to point out from my point of view what happened and what it is. I can, like, the fact of this, he can't accept the loss, he needs to cope.
After his loss to Alex Periera at UFC 300, Jamahal Hill's reactions didn't just pour fuel on the fire, they became the fire. Fans expected a moment of reflection or maybe even humility, but Hill doubled down with post-fight excuses and controversial statements that sparked a storm of criticism.
So Herb Dean, he signals to the ref, hey, I got kicked. The ref yells, stop. I stopped completely. He then takes the angle and closes the distance in that, and then tells the ref, no, I'm good. Why'd you signal to the ref then in the first place? What was the point of you for signaling to the ref in that moment? If the kick didn't hit you low, you didn't want it stopped, but yet you grab low, you signal to the ref, you wanted to, so the ref could see it, let him know that you got kicked, but yet all of a sudden you don't want the fight to be stopped. My thumb is up right now and he's closing the distance on me. It was in the moment, and you had good distance. How did you get the distance? Well, y'all, like, because a lot of people were like, oh, he gave him the thumbs up. Oh, he was cool. I was asking if he was okay. He was closing the distance on me. From that thumbs up to the touch, I was like, yo, you okay? At no point did you see me circle the way that I circled so flatly at that angle, giving up outside positioning. Now, just me being honest. It's no excuses, none. I was expecting the ref to come in, separate us. All right, you guys good? You know what I mean? And you do your touch, you do your little step back, and then you get back to it. That's what I was expecting to happen.
In one of the most talked about post-fight statements, Hill claimed that the groin shot that was momentarily stopped by Herb Dean was the catalyst for his knockout. Many saw this as yet another excuse in a series of deflections. Rather than crediting Periera's skills, Hill pointed fingers, further alienating fans who expected more accountability. And the fallout didn't end there. Even respected MMA figures like Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson weighed in, breaking down the fight in their own way. But instead of taking the advice of a seasoned champion, Hill lashed out, proving yet again that he struggled to accept criticism, even from the best, most educated in the business.
So already, eight seconds in the fight, he lands an outside leg kick.
That leg kick was checked.
Look, he's not allowing Jamahal Hill to go on the outside. You see how he's keeping.
Now, this is extremely confusing to me from the simple fact of Demetrius Johnson. I do respect I believe he's an extremely intelligent fighter. I think he's one of the best to ever fight. Now, how he's pointing this out is strange, because if you go back and you actually look at those steps and those where you want to go to get to the outside, getting to the outside would mean the ability to actually turn somebody and be able to either get behind them or put them in a bad position. In that exchange right there where he's saying, see how Alex is controlling, Alex isn't controlling the outside. I am.
Misses. Look where he is now. Look where he is now. Look at the master of the void. He's still there. He's not retreating. If he wanted to, right hand right there. Boom. Conor McGregor special right there. Right? That's what makes him so great.
All right. Now see right there, that's just cap. He's saying that he's not retreating. He's mastering and managing distance. All right. Part of that outside foot battle and foot positioning is also the fact of you have to switch up the rhythm.
Months later, Hill's behaviour continued to grab attention. During Periera's fight at UFC 307, Hill was caught yawning on camera, dismissing Periera's victory with a casual, "I'm not impressed." For fans, this wasn't confidence. It was seen as being petty and disrespectful. And as Hill's image worsened, the once loyal audience that had cheered him on began to distance themselves further. And Jamahal Hill went on to even say that he didn't find Alex Periera's performance impressive, which is fair enough, but he's the guy that knocked you out, and that can definitely be seen as pettiness towards that.
But you said, was it entertaining? Yes. Was I impressed? No, I'm not impressed. What about the fight were you not impressed by? Just kind of looking back at that one.
Nothing surprised me. It went exactly how I thought it was going to go. If you watch the breakdown that I did before, I called everything from from whenever he started to find the teeth kick, knowing that was going to be that was going to be a huge problem for him, just to everything, bro. So no, nothing surprised me. Nothing impressed me, because that was a fight that he should have won. Probably more impressive than he did.
And then, of course, we found out after the fight. And look, I know fighters are never 100% when they go into fights, but Periera mentioning he had the rib injury, he hurt his toe prior to the fight. Do you think that impacted his performance? Or, I guess kind of like you were saying, you expected that to stand up?
No, bro. Like they do this every time they fight. Like, he come out with injuries, bro. There hasn't been a fight where I didn't have injuries that I still haven't even disclosed or talked about. So, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, bro. It's part of the job.
Perhaps most striking of all was Hill's insistence that he wasn't truly knocked out in the Periera fight.
What say to you after the fight? Because I know sometimes when you do, get knocked out, there's some sort of a suspension. Like, I imagine that all got cleared before you, booked this fight.
I wasn't knocked out.
Yeah, not knocked out cold, but I mean, like, generally, yeah.
Punch, you know what I mean? And then, I went down, I was defending, and then I got hit. I got hit with some good follow-up shots. And it knocked my equilibrium off. I was not unconscious at no point.
Fans and analysts alike found this claim baffling, as the replay clearly showed him not defending himself and his eyes rolling to the back of his head. To many, this demonstrated a disconnect between Hill's perception of reality and what actually unfolded in the octagon. Despite everything, Hill remains adamant that a rematch with Periera would end differently. He's openly stated that he would dominate Periera, a belief that only further polarized opinions. While some admire his confidence, others see it as delusion, a refusal to acknowledge the gap exposed during their first encounter. If he was going to win the rematch, how did he get knocked out so clear in the first fight? And if you ask Jamahal Hill, I believe he would blame it on the groin shot. But yet, the fight game moves on. Rumours suggest Hill's next opponent will be Jiri Prochazka at UFC 311, a match that could provide Hill with an opportunity to begin rebuilding his reputation. But with his ongoing defensiveness toward critics, some wonder whether Hill's next battle will be in the octagon or against his own public image. From Achilles injuries to Twitter feuds, domestic violence allegations, to dismissive post-fight comments, Hill's journey from fan favourite to what most might see as a villain has been both swift and chaotic. Whether he can turn things around remains to be seen, but for now the story of Jamahal Hill is one of confidence turned to possible arrogance, talent overshadowed by controversy, and a star who fell from grace. And while many might see him as a villain, was it done on purpose? Or was it done by accident? Or some might see, which I can see their opinion, that maybe he's just a guy who believes things went different. Maybe he believes that he's doing the right thing, he's saying the right things, but the audience has just taken something and running with it. But I want to know down in the comments, do you believe that Jamahal Hill turned himself into the villain, or do you side with Jamahal Hill? Because I can see either side of the coin. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. This video took a lot of work, so please like, subscribe and comment. And as always guys, have a good one and take care.